Hey, all, welcome to SLB Basement Bourbon Bar. I'm Kurt. This is Trenton, and today, my friend, we have Heaven and Hill's Heaven and?
Heaven
How
and?
about Heaven Hill?
Heaven Hill, yep.
Heaven Hill's brand new collection that just came out not too long ago, Grain to Glass. Pretty excited about it.
I feel like what would you call Heaven Hill as a distillery? I feel like they're one of the older ones. Like, I think Buffalo Trace was 1775, which is a little bit longer than I've been alive. But I think Heaven Hill might be second or something.
It could
like
be.
Heritage that you would call, or like a legacy type
legacy
distillery.
heritage distillery. That's what I would say. Sure.
It's cool.
Been there a long time, basically.
Yeah, and I feel like with those, not saying that they grow a little complacent, but you don't see a lot of like new collections kind of coming out. The last one that I remember was the Jim Beam's Hardin's Creek. Which I thought was pretty good.
Creek, yes.
And I just
it was.
I think they're coming out with another one this year, a corn whiskey of some sort.
Is that right?
I think it's an 11-year, so I'm going to try and get my hands on that.
Okay.
But I was actually looking at, I think somebody sent me the link to the Coming Whiskey, their Instagram post on these Heaven Hill, and listen, I can't remember when that was.
I'm a religious follower of Coming Whiskey.
Yeah.
And if you're on Instagram at all, you can find them there. They're in the know of all the new releases that are coming out. Everything bourbon and rye.
Yeah, so when I saw that, I was actually pretty excited. I honestly well, that's not really too surprising. I did no research. I would just imagine grain to glass is similar to like a farm to table thing where you grow your own grow your own animals and then you use them in your food. Maybe they have their own farm or something. I don't know.
Well, Trenton, you texted me and says this morning, can you pick these up?
Yes.
So, and we're going to film it tonight.
Yes.
So that's what happened. So, but I did have an opportunity just to look into it slightly. And as always, if I'm incorrect, please let me know in the comments. But from my understanding, the same name has owned Heaven Hill. Why do I want to say Heaven and Hill every time? I don't know. You got me. But the same name has owned it since the early 1900s. They've been working directly with a couple different farming families that also share the same rich family heritage and traditions since the early 1900s to develop the grains for this particular release. That's my understanding.
Okay.
What I really, really enjoy about this particular release, since I did have a chance to actually look at the bottles, I haven't tasted any of them.
Are you sure?
I'm 100% positive.
I'm actually very surprised.
Me too.
Very surprised.
Me too. But they have everything that a consumer needs to know on the front of this label.
Oh, that is
everything. Nice. And I love that about it. And I think it's pretty attractive too, the packaging here. But they have the mash bill, the proof. I mean, anything you want to know is right here. And I think they were listening to you, Trenton, but all the proofs are a little bit higher on these releases.
How much were these?
Every bottle was $109 per bottle. Now,
okay, that ain't cheap.
That's not cheap. That is absolutely not cheap. No bottle was a little less, a little more, all of them.
Okay.
About 109, and I think you would probably know more than I what the actual MSRP is for that. But
I thought that's about what it was.
I would assume it probably is, but that's what I paid today.
Okay.
So, once again, not cheap.
Yeah.
But we'll do the tasting here, and we'll see what we think, and maybe one's way better than another. Or, you never know. They might all be great.
Am I zoning out, or did you give an age statement?
I didn't. I did also read that these are all about 6 years. 6 years.
Okay. Yeah. 6 years, high proof, $109. I guess we'll see how they taste first before we make any kind of judgment calls about that.
A lot of preparation, a lot of thought process went into this, and I understand that.
Oh.
No, not necessarily our video. On my part, maybe not yours. Y'all got to pray for Trenton too during this filming of this video. He woke up and had to start work this morning at 6 a.m. That's really early for Trenton to start work.
Yeah, I've been up since like 5:30.
Poor guy.
It has not been a fun day. Granted, I'm not out like, digging in the trenches or anything like that. I literally sit at my desk and work from my laptop. But I usually get out of bed at 7:30 or 8, so 2 hours earlier and still going to bed at around midnight did not play too well.
Let's just put it this way, you're going to be tired tonight.
And I'm probably going to go to bed after this video. Actually, I'm going to go get Chick-fil-A first because they're open today.
There you go. That's a good idea.
Ooh, man, that stings the nostrils. What was this one, 120 something?
No, I think,
107.
Yeah, that
oh,
was
well, okay. The
107.
rye is 120 something.
Yeah.
I love that. Thanks.
Yeah, it varies. They vary some. Now, one thing I didn't see on here, Trenton, I didn't see anything about cast strength, barrel proof, none of that. Just the the proof points. I did see, though, however, that these are all non-chill filtered.
Okay, I like that.
But I love the nose on this. It's very brown sugar, a little bit of caramel, some grain coming through.
I really don't get much.
Get out.
Yeah.
Did I roll your glasses? I did mine.
I don't know. Is there? Let me smell this baby Hudson. Maybe that'll wake my nostrils up.
Is that like?
I can smell fine because that smells rough.
Maybe. Oh Lord! Instead of sniffing coffee, you're gonna start sniffing baby Hudson to get your nostrils ready to roll.
I get maybe like a little bit of like a light sugary note, but that's really about it on this. It's kind of surprising.
It's not deep, dark, rich, strong, bold. It's not like that, but I think it's delicate.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah.
What is there a lot of malt in this? I get a little bit of malt. There's 13% in this. What is it in this one?
I took my glasses off. You'll have to check it.
13. Oh, okay. 13%.
Okay.
I do get a little bit of that malt.
You have barley?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Or the barley.
Malted barley, sure.
It's got this like weird cinnamon toothpaste thing going on. Like a
I definitely get some cinnamon.
Yeah.
Towards the back and into the finish, for sure.
Why toothpaste? I don't know, but it's...
For me, I get that brown sugar. But to me, on the sip, it is highlighting that grain as well. It really is the corn on this one, for sure.
Yeah.
I'm getting a nice cream corn note on it. I'm getting even almost like a little bit of a...
Cream corn.
And I don't even want to say that, but it's more of a sweet type of a corn note that I'm getting.
What is cream corn?
But hey, this is only listen, Trent. This is only 52% corn, 35% rye.
Ooh.
So it's a high rye for sure with a 13% malted barley. So this is this mash bill is a bit different.
Is this the usual Heaven Hill mash bill? I don't know what their usual mash bill is.
Well, I would say probably not.
I do see on here the corn seed varietal is Beck's 6158. Mm-hmm. So Beck's corn over here is doing pretty well. Mm-hmm. What is? Do you just like mix cream with corn and then you mash it and then you got cream corn? Am I oversimplifying the process?
Well, no.
Okay.
Yeah, you do put heavy cream in the corn. And you can make it 1,000 ways to Sunday, but the more cream and butter, the better. How about that? Right up your alley.
No. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Yep.
I'm not enamored with this pour.
Right.
It's really kind of hard. I do get a little bit. It is a little bit creamy. I do get a little bit of that corn, but it's also like I get a little bit of a cinnamon. There's quite a bit of oak influence in there. Mm-hmm. Okay. And I think that the softness of the corn isn't really helping cut through those barrely notes. So that's kind of front and center.
A lot of barrel spices.
A lot. Yeah.
And,
honestly, I get a little bit of like an allspice. Like it's kind of spicy in a weird way.
You're right, and that might be due to the lower amount of corn that's in the actual mash bill.
I'll have to look.
And I can't deny with Trenton. I think it's a pretty fine sip, but I'm not overly excited about it.
Yeah.
So
especially for the money, and I'm not gonna lie, I do think the idea of a grain to glass kind of situation is really neat. Yeah, working with heritage farms and folks that have been helping feed the country for several centuries is a really cool thing, and to kind of do a little bit of a collaboration with those things in mind is really neat. But
all right,
what's the wheat or mash bill?
I'm sorry, I tuned you out there as you were speaking.
Oh, dude,
the wheat. All they did, Trenton, on the mash bill was replace the rye with wheat at 35%.
Oh, okay.
So the mash bill remains the same: 52% corn, 35% wheat, 13% malted barley, and it sits at 121 proof.
Okay, imagine this when you smell this. I got a pinched nerve in my neck too, so it's been a little bit rough.
But you were a little bit...
Did I skimp on you a little bit?
Rough on me on that pour, my man.
No, that's A. You drank that. That's why.
Oh, that's okay. That's right. I'll tell you what. Him and I, we do things differently. When he pours it, it's one way. When I pour it, it's another way, where we set him behind the bar. So I'm sorry about that.
Imagine you have a Green Giant can of corn with the water in it, and you crack that bad boy open, and you just get hit right in the face with corn water. I smell that a lot on this, and that's not to be fun. Like that, it is kind of funny now that I say it out loud, but I'm serious. That's very corn watery.
Okay, now, but let's think for a second, Trent. What they're trying to highlight in this particular collection is that corn.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And so, are they achieving what they set out to do? I think probably.
Based just on the
Right.
palate of this one and the nose on this one, I'd say that if that is the goal, I would assume so. Given they're highlighting the corn variety and stuff on here, they're achieving what they set out to do with this.
Yeah.
I will say that. All right, full send on the corn water here.
I get a little bit of molasses there on the nose too.
That's corny, but not as much though.
Yeah, it's getting dark there. It's got some darker baking spices and some molasses in that note. Trent's not lying. You're gonna get a little bit of corn in there too, but
Do you get like a hot tamale on this? I don't know why I'm getting a lot of cinnamon or like a faint.
yeah, I had to take a sip because it's pretty spicy.
Okay.
Pretty spicy.
Did they say anything about a different, like a rye? The only thing that is the corn. They didn't do a rye and a barley too, just the corn.
You always
Am I asking too many questions?
10 questions that I only have the answer for 2 of them.
Well, I'm just curious. Well,
you love doing that.
Well, I'm curious. I'm curious because I usually don't get this much of a rye spice in it, and I'm curious if this is a different mash bill or if they did actually in combination with the corn variety that they did, the Beck 6158. They also experimented with a different rye variety or a yeast strain or something. It's different than normal Heaven Hill rye.
Yes.
Or this is weirder.
Yeah,
Like larceny.
I understand.
I like the nose a lot better than I do on A on this one. I actually get a little bit more depth in here, which is surprising because usually Weeder's are a little bit more subdued, a little more delicate.
Yeah. Second sip was a little bit better on the spice notes for me. Just getting used to a little bit higher proof. But I stick with what I said. A lot of it's dominated with some darker baking spices and molasses. You know?
I just need to eat a spoonful of molasses because I still don't necessarily know what that tastes like.
For me, it's like the darkest sweetness that I can relate to.
It's like
So for me, I got like caramel, brown sugar, going to get a little bit darker than that. You know, and then you get in some toffee notes.
Oh, toffee's that far down the list. Okay.
I would say so. Yeah, toffee. And for me, when you get down to that molasses, it's the sweetness, but yet in a darker, richer form.
Okay.
That's my interpretation.
Do you get a little bit do you find molasses to have like a little bit of a burnt type of a thing? Or am I thinking of something different?
You know, it's possible.
Okay.
It's possible. I kind of like this one.
I do. I will say
I kind of do.
I like this one a lot better than the bourbon. I think the Weeder's a lot nicer, a little bit more balanced. Highlights the corn still, but still reminds you that it's not a bourbon. But it still pulls the other whiskey notes that you might otherwise get in like a wheated bourbon.
Right. You still get that oaky going on though.
Yep.
Still. Which for this one kind of lends a little bit more to the depth of the sip, where this one over here for me was pretty bold and kind of over the top.
Yeah.
A little bit.
This one is it's like the bully in high school giving you a swirly. I don't know if anybody else got a swirly.
I was just saying, I'm sure that never happened to you, but I'm sure that never happened. Come on now. You're everybody's friend.
Yeah.
You moved out of the rye, didn't you? You couldn't wait.
No, I'm sad that I put it last, but I had to because I think this is 121.3 proof or.
Yes, it is 123.2 actually.
Ooh, yep, twisted the numbers.
And the mash bill on this one, Trent, is 63% rye, 24% corn, 13% malted barley. So more of a lower rye content rye whiskey per se.
I almost get a little bit of a buttered popcorn kind of a note on this one. Maybe a little bit of those kernels got burnt in the process. You know?
Had to do it.
You just did too, I think.
Oh, hey, listen. If I do, it's well concealed, my friend.
You can't
it's out there, man. It's just there.
Man, I can't help it when it's coming out as I'm talking. There's not much stopping it.
Good grief.
I think this is my favorite. Well, actually.
This is good. This is really nice, actually. And I'm not a huge rye fan, but I get that sharp mint in a wonderful way, though. And then I'm getting some beautiful sweetness in here, too. There's definitely some sweetness going on in here.
It smells like a Halloween store. Or like the Halloween section at a Walmart.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And I don't know how to describe. Does that make sense? Like
Well,
kind of.
Your mom's been in many Halloween aisles.
It's got this like sweet rubbery note.
Yeah, he's weird. It's definitely kind of, I can't deny that either. I hate that when you do that. Actually, I do.
Mom, you want to come smell a Halloween store? No, it does smell like a Halloween store. Oh, Mom.
I'm actually really trying to get into this because it does really. The aromas are really actually very nice for me. On a rye whiskey.
When I'm
I like
saying,
it.
I love going into a Halloween store because it just like I love the fall, so it reminds me of the fall, and I used to just mess around with the costumes when I was a youngin'. Yeah, it brings me back to good times.
Well, I'm happy for you.
I do get a little bit of mint too.
Yeah,
It's nice. Lovely. Different though for a rye. Ooh.
wow.
It's a roller coaster ride.
Yes, it is.
Of mint.
I absolutely love the front of that palate, and as it got to the mid to back and into the finish, I'm wondering about it. So I'm gonna take another sip.
It started at like a fresh mint for me, and then it like went into like this 5 gum or like a Stride Spear or Wrigley's like a spearmint, and then like a fresh mint. Dude, that's all over the mint map there. I don't even know how to describe the
Front
minty.
of the palate, he's right, was exactly like the aromas. A real nice, fresh, minty.
This one's making. My mouth is juicy on this one. Ow. My neck. I like this one.
This is really nice.
I like this a lot.
Yeah, that second sip was better than the first one. Maybe it's my palate adjusting from going from bourbon to a wheated bourbon into a rye whiskey, but
Yeah.
that rye is still zapping my tongue. That rye grain, it gets a little zesty. Sometimes this one's a little zesty.
Yeah, I could. Yeah.
It's sassy.
I don't know about sassy, but yeah, I do like this one a lot.
Yeah.
We do have the Elijah Craig toasted rye coming, and I'll say this right now: I'm not a big fan of their toasted bourbon. I don't think you're a big fan of their toasted bourbon
No.
either. So I'm very interested to see how their toasted rye is.
Yeah,
If this
we'll
is
check
any
it out.
indication of kind of what they're going to be pumping out too,
Maybe.
I'm really
Maybe.
excited.
Yeah,
it's not
maybe.
cast strength though.
Yeah, maybe. I like the proof point here. I do like a rye that kind of tingles the tongue with that rye spice.
Yeah.
I can't deny that. I do like that. I like a rye also that comes with some sweetness, which this one does as well, along with that minty, fresh minty part of it.
This might be one of my favorite Heaven Hill products that I've had in a while.
Really now.
I think maybe since the Heaven Hill 17. And don't get me wrong, the Elijah Craig Barrel Proofs and the Larcenies are good.
Sure.
And not to say they're one and the same, they do have the different aspects and nuances that kind of make them differ for sure.
I'm gonna put you to the test here a little bit since you're the rye guy, but Pikesville also comes out of Heaven Hill,
Ooh,
correct?
I forgot about that.
I kind of see some similarities, a little bit.
Yeah.
This one here, though, is a little bit more minty, in that regard. But Pikesville is an exceptional rye whiskey on its own, too. So for me to see that this one is very good as well doesn't actually surprise me.
I don't know, man. I'm not gonna lie. After, I think for me, it goes 1, 2, 3 in terms of what I like. I think the Weeder is pretty good. I wouldn't call it exceptional.
Yeah.
If I happen to see one, depending on my mood, I might pick it up. This, I don't know that I'd go for that again, but the rye.
Yeah. All right. As we bring this to a close, guys, keep in mind all this is $110. $110 a bottle, which is it's a little bit of a stretch. For me, I'd be a little bit opposite of you. I would go with the Weeder first, then the rye. But that's, hey,
Really?
you all know how Trent and I are, in our normal palette patterns, so that shouldn't be a huge surprise. But I'm with you on this. I think it's very good. I think these two here in general can more than likely substantiate that price.
Yeah.
This one here, no, not for me either. I thought it was okay, but not for $110.
No,
I'm sorry about that, but
maybe it opens up. But I do think these other two are really solid effort. The rye especially. So
yeah, but kudos to Heaven Hill.
Yeah.
For this effort.
Yep.
And for this collection.
Yeah.
I think it was in general a very, very nice collection.
Yeah.
That they put out here.
And
actually with everything involved, the history, the families, I love all that.
I'll say too, I'm gonna throw out a challenge because I know that they're not gonna be watching. But Buffalo Trace, I challenge you to come out with a new, readily available type of a collection, something that's a little bit different than your usual E.H. Taylor annual releases and things. See what you can come up with. I'd love to try them.
Yeah. Hey, Heaven Hill listened to you on the higher proof. Buffalo Trace might listen too.
Let's hope everybody else follows.
All right, guys, that's all we have for you today. I had a good time anyway, so hope you did as well. As always, we ask you to please drink responsibly. We'll see you next time right down here with Trent and me in the good old basement bourbon bar. See you later.